famous phrases.
I will gouge out your eyeballs and skull fuck you!
That were more, say, picturesque.
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down to cracking your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
Astonishing, to say the least.
I'll bet you're the kind of guy that would fuck a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
Every time it was something else. I mean, he seemed to have an endless resources on obscenities.
I want that head so sanitary and squared away that the Virgin Mary...
Amazing, fresh, impossible for a screenwriter to think how dialogue was spilling out of his mouth, and all they had to do was record it.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
Eskimo pussy is mighty cold.
Eskimo pussy is mighty cold.
And he is a natural actor, there's no doubt about it. Something he probably didn't know.
Private Pile, and you listen good. I want that weapon, and I want it now.
He's what makes that film really drive at the beginning. He makes it go.
Happy birthday to you.
I mean, when you look at Lee's work, he really is Parasound. He really was that DI.
Happy birthday, dear Jesus. Happy birthday to you.
Stanley didn't like to travel, and he wanted to do this film here. I mean, most directors would have gone to the Philippines or do something like that. Well, that was not an option for him.
It seemed to be a preposterous idea to make a Vietnam movie in East London, but Kubrick had a bunch of reasons for shooting his films in England, the principal one being that he didn't like to do anything more than 10 miles from his house.
The last time Stanley left England was to go to the premiere of 2001 in New York, and then he sailed.
One of the biggest reasons he did the film was because there was this gasworks, this abandoned gasworks in East London called Beckton, and they were about to destroy it. But it had the same or very similar French architecture to the city of Hue.
And we got the permission to topple buildings because it was derelict anyway. That hasn't been used since after the First World War.
Anton Furst, who was the designer on it, just went round the place and said, well, if we cut away these pillars on this building, it'll fall over on its sides. And hey presto, they did, and the building, sure enough, fell over. You know, it was fairly straightforward. Apparently, it was quite hairy when they were doing it. The story goes that Stanley wanted to dynamite some of them, but they wouldn't let him.
And what he would do is, in order to make it look even more like Vietnam, he flew in a bunch of palm trees.
By adding palm trees, you really did get the sense of it very quickly that you were over there.
And I think they did a tremendous job because most people don't believe that this was all done in East London. Of all places, yeah.
I'm fucking bored to death, man. I gotta get back in the shit. I ain't heard a shot fired in anger in weeks.
During the filming, I asked, how's this gonna go? This is gonna go slowly. And it was something none of us were used to.
I don't think you can make films as well as Stanley does without taking that long. I just don't think you can.
Originally, I was hired for 18 weeks, and of course I knew it wouldn't be 18 weeks. It never is. I think he hires everybody for 18 weeks, and then it just goes over and over.
I believe it was about 17 months. I was brought in on the very first day, and I left on the very last day. 4 months longer than tour of duty.
It wasn't going to be the short time tour of duty, it was going to be, potentially years off your life. And he was going to put you through hell, in his own inimitable way. You just didn't know when it was going to end.
It was mainly around the sequence where 8-Ball and the Doc get shot by the sniper.
I know that Dorian stayed laying in the mud for a very long time.
We were on that wall for a month doing this cross.
That sequence kept us pinned down, literally, because every time they blasted the sides of the buildings, all the bullet hits had to be reset, and it took them about 2 or 3 days to reset all the bullet hits.
The concussive effect that I got from those building I have ever experienced. And I had earplugs in, the whole thing, but just the explosions were so powerful that they would pound into my eardrum. And I could only imagine what the real sound of real guns, close range, real bombs, and those things were like.
All the actors, I think, were, to a man, very, very brave, because Stanley put them through it. He really did.
The more that the actors are thinking, you know, when is this going to end, the more like the guys in Vietnam they become. None of this is lost on Stanley. He knows what he's doing, a very, very clever crafter of actors' psyches.
And I'll always remember what he said to me. In the early going, he said it to me, it was his mantra to me, the whole shoot. He said, Adam, Adam, you're just not patient. I'll never forget that.
The impression I had about him was that he was 99% visual. And I didn't think he knew that much or cared that much about acting. And I was wrong about that. Because he did have a great eye for acting.
Stanley likes actors that show up, know their lines, and don't bump into the furniture. And he doesn't want to hear anything else. He doesn't care about the motivation. He cares about it in the way that it better be right to tell his story properly. But he doesn't want to talk about it. Show up, know your lines, don't bump into the furniture. Basically, that's it.
He doesn't want to explain to an actor what he's looking for. He's already cast you.
And anything you bring is good enough for him if it tells his story properly. If it doesn't, he'll say, do it better. Do it more interesting. He does use those terms. He doesn't say how to do it, what to do. You fucked up, do it again. He'll say it right to you, right in front of everybody. No problem.
You talk the talk. Do you walk the walk?
At one point, Adam did his line. Stanley said, cut. Okay, let's do it. And Adam said something to the effect of, oh, man, what does he want? As soon as he said this, there was a quick silence because he was saying it, and the great Stanley Kubrick. And Stanley kind of leaned over from his camera. How about better acting? And then he comes back over, and we all just like, whoa!
Although everybody used to think Stanley was very precise about his filmmaking, he used to experiment a lot more than people realized.
And at one point, he got all of the main cast together, and he brought us into his motor, and he says, I'm not sure how I want to end this film. You guys have any ideas? We all look at each other. Stanley Kubrick's asking us how we should end his film.
In the script, and I believe it's still in my copy of the script, Animal Mother cuts the head off the sniper and throws it out of the building.
Animal Mother had been carrying a machete on his back the whole show in order to do this one little thing. And so after Joker administers coup de grace, he wastes her and like it's some big important thing that we've wasted this little kook sniper. And Animal Mother takes umbrage at that. It's not that important. He peels out his machete and lops off her head and picks it up. They're all celebrating Joker, and Animal's like, here's the head. That's not a big deal. That's hard. That didn't make it into the film for reasons that Stanley never told me.
It was too horrific and unnecessarily so. Stanley was not out to do something sensational that is particularly horrible.
He was always conscious of violence in his films. I talked to him about Clockwork Orange, which he always felt he'd overdone the violence, and that's why he had the control in England to ban it, and he banned it.
After the movie was over and I was being interviewed about the movie, and I said in a complimentary way that Stanley was a perfectionist. And Stanley called me from England. He called my house. I'm not a perfectionist. Why did you say I'm a perfectionist? I said, Stanley, you are a perfectionist. What do you think all those takes are?
Stanley could spot a fly flying through the background of his movie at 100 yards and cut, back up, let's do it again.
I think the average was at least 30 takes. Yeah, maybe more. I stopped counting.
Slower. Louder. Faster. Again. See what he does. Let's beat him down. Let's see what happens.
The most takes
clapped their voice a bit in rehearsals to try and maintain enough voice for the performance. But of course, Lee gave it rock all the moment he started, you know, and as a result, his voice just broke down.
Lee was put